Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Operations Committee. I please ask the committee secretary to call the roll. Everyone, welcome to the Operations Committee.
Okay. Director Corbett,
Here.
Director Eccles,
Present.
Director Wieskamp,
Here.
AGM O'Connor.
Here.
And we do have several staff presenters as well as guests attending the meeting today.
Thank you very much. Would you like to mention them real quick?
Sure, I sure will. We have Ruby Tumber, we have Ann Castlebaum, Lisa Brotman, Matt McDonald, Mike Moran, Nate Luna, Naomi Laval, Renee Patterson, Robert Kennedy, and Tiffany Margoliti.
Thank you very much. And we have a lot of really exciting and interesting things to discuss today in the Operations Committee. So thank you for that. You can tell that by the list of staff that you just mentioned. And would you like to just quickly mention how people can participate in today's meeting? And please let me know if we have any public comments.
Sure. So members of the public wishing to make a public comment may do so by sending an email to boardopscommittee@ebparks.org. You may dial 510-544-2500 and leave a voicemail, or you may join the meeting live via Zoom with the Zoom link available in the agenda on the district website. And at this time, Director Corbett, we have no public comments.
Thank you very much. Well, then we'll go ahead with the first item on the agenda. AGM O'Connor, would you like to start that off? The review of the Dumbarton Quarry Camp Store concession and campground caretaker request RFP at the Dumbarton Quarry Campground on the Bay at Coyote Hills Regional Park. I know Director Wieskamp will be very happy to hear the presentation.
One more symbol is happening.
Yay!
Chair Corbett, I congratulate you on getting through that title. That was very amazing. Just a couple words before I pass it off to Tiffany is we staff in the district across multiple divisions are working together to get this new facility open. And as we've stated in the past, our target opening date is August 27th for the new campground. We're very excited about that. Today's item on the agenda is a critical piece of that opening of the campground. This is a concession operator to manage the store facility on site and also to provide a camp post for overnight security and coverage at night. So we have some eyes out there in the campground at night, our brand new campground. So it's been a long road to get there. Whenever you open a brand new park or a brand new facility, there's a lot of unknowns in terms of patronage. We have lots of high hopes for this campground. We think it's going to be very busy, but for business folks, it's an unknown. You know, it will be present at the campground. So it's been a challenging RFP, but I think we have a good concessionaire operator. And with that, I'm going to pass off to Tiffany.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Chair Corbett, Board of Operations Committee members, Business Services Manager Tiffany Margolisi. With me for this item is Park Supervisor Matt McDonald for the Coyote Hills, Renee Patterson, Administrative Analyst, who has done a ton of wonderful work on this item, and also Jay Ganji, who I'll be presenting later on as our proposed concessionaire. So with that, I will be sharing my screen and I'll start the presentation. One moment. I have it to full screen. And can you see the full screen or the note? Can you see the full screen?
I see your notes.
All right, thanks. And there we go. How's that? Okay, super. Thank you so much. So I won't attempt to read the title because Chair Corbett did that so well, but here's a beautiful aerial picture of the future site. And for the presentation, I'll talk a little bit about the location, which I think most of us are familiar with, the background about the concession, our requests for proposal timeline and process, then introduce our recommended concessionaire, and talk about fees and our recommendation. So here is a rendering of what the new sign will look like, Dumbarton Quarry Campground on the Bay. And this map shows where it's located as part of Coyote Hills Park. It will be phase 1 is what we're speaking of opening this August, which is here on the right-hand side. You can see my cursor. And it's 63 sites total, with 60 full hookup sites and 3 have water. 6 new buildings, a camp store, kiosk, restrooms and showers, and the amenities are exciting, including an amphitheater, playground, picnic areas, playgrounds, parking, and trails. So over here on the left is where you can see the camp store building. It includes a laundry. It's about 616 square feet, so not very big, but will be adequate to provide some services for the campers here. And across the way, this other building you see is one of the restroom buildings. The store will be selling packaged items, food, drinks, paper plates, cups, firewoods, camping gear, the typical things you would find in a camp store. The concession also includes caretaker or camp host duties, and that individual will be occupying one of the sites near the camp store. Again, we see the camp store building. This shows currently, this is a RV of one of the Dumbarton Quarry Associates, people doing some caretaking there. And then when the land is transferred, it'll transfer to being a concessionaire, having the caretaker here. And that person will provide eyes on the ground, be able to assist with public contact and support the store operation. So where we're at with the development of the store, the building, the store envelope is complete, as we would call it. The building is done, the utilities are complete. And next, we have some shopping to do for the store to purchase the large appliances, shelving, counters. We are looking to pilot or experiment with one of these firewood vending machines. We've done some research. Unit Manager Dave Vance did some research and found these have been working well in other parks in other states. This is a picture of what one looks like. And as I'll be talking about, we're anticipating some lower, minimal hours to start with as we get ramped up for the store. And so having some self-service items like this will help really complement the visitor services. Here's an overview of the timeline we go through. As AGM O'Connor said, this was our second round of going out to RFP. The first time was in the heart of COVID in the initial part of the pandemic, and we didn't get any responses. We reopened the RFP in January, and we go through all of our steps for a very transparent process. And we're getting close to the end of the process here today, May 25th, we're at the Board Operations Committee. And if the committee recommends it, it would go to the full board on July 20th. Here's again, some of the things we've done, our usual, the direct mailing, the website posting, working with public affairs on some social media as well. We did have a good showing at the site visit, 7 different attendees representing 5 entities. We did only receive 1 proposal. And as AGM O'Connor said, there's a lot of unknowns about having a new park. So a lot of excitement, but also a lot of unknowns. So we're going to talk more about the proposal we received in just a moment. We did go through a formal interview panel process as we do, including a representative from State Parks. So I'll be introducing Outback Adventures, and some may recognize that name. They're a successful concessionaire over at Del Val. They do our paddle sports concession over there with a very good performance on safety and very good financial reporting. They're a sole proprietorship business for 22 years, and they have experience operating multiple sporting goods stores, including a retail store in Fremont. So it's really ideal. They have the sales part of the experience. And then they also have the recreational part of the experience, including, like I said, at Del Val. They also have outdoor guided trips and classes that they run throughout the Bay Area. So the store hours will be starting off on the smaller side and growing and adjusting as customer needs grow. So they'll be very responsive to, as we don't know what the occupancy will be. So as occupancy grows, they'll increase the hours, but it may be some rather limited hours in the beginning. And then the caretaker will be on site Wednesday through Sunday. And so Monday and Tuesday, that role would be covered by staff and public safety. Here's some examples. These are just typical camp store items, some of the paper goods, the s'mores, of course, firewood, and then the laundry. As Outback gets settled into the operation, they are looking to, in the future, offer some concierge services to try that out, see if they can offer tent rentals, services so people can arrive and have their tent set up for them, have other types of tent and camping support. And then also there's room there to do recreational rentals at the site, similar to what they have at Del Val, bike rentals or bocce ball or other types of things. Since this came up with our last concessionaire for the Contra Loma snack bar, I did want to also highlight the waste reduction and recycling plan for Outback. As Jay said to me, Outback has always recycled. They have recycled from the very beginning of their operation before it was, as widely known as it is today. They've never ever offered bags in any of their retail operations. And that has been, again, throughout the life of their operation. It wasn't because of some bag mandate or policy. Outback shared with me that one of the reasons they got into the rental business is that it is a reuse business model. By offering rentals and allowing people to rent gear, it's inherently reducing consumption. And that was one of the things that inspired them about getting into the rental business. Regarding the items sold at the store, they will be being mindful about looking for compostable or recyclable items. Obviously, some things like marshmallows, or there's not a lot of control they'll have, but in terms of the paper goods sold and things like that, they'll be prioritizing that. And then also they're exploring what might be the most environmentally friendly option for bundling the firewood, because typically you see sometimes that plastic wrap. So Jay is looking into whether there's any other types of options which might be more environmentally friendly. So for the term length and fees, we're proposing an initial term of 4 years with a possible additional 6-year term, bringing it to a total of 10. And the fee structure is a little different than our usual, but in recognition that there is going to be a lot of investment and startup costs for someone to be the first on the ground here. And so for years 1 and 2, we're proposing no fee either to the concession fee or maintenance fund. And then starting in year 3, a 6% fee into the maintenance fund, but still no concession fee. And then starting in year 4 through year 10, a 2% concession fee with 6% to the maintenance fund. And again, as AGM O'Connor prefaced in the beginning, we think this is really a win-win to have someone on the ground from day one, to get the visitor services, to serve the public who are there. And this will help mitigate some of the risk for the concessionaire. So the recommendation is that we recommend the Board Operations Committee approve and recommend to the full board the selection of Outback Adventures for an initial term of 4 years with a possible second term of 6 years, with no fee in years 1 and 2, 6% payment into the concession maintenance fund in year 4, and 2% concession fee and 6% concession maintenance fund payment in years 5 to 10. And with that, I will stop the screen share and answer any questions.
Thank you very much for that great report. We're definitely anticipating the opening and all that goes along with it. So thank you for that. Directors, any questions? Director Wieskamp, do you have any questions?
You know, not so much questions. I think that's an excellent idea to give a startup without charging a lot to let things get going and inspire everybody to participate and make it work. Because when you're starting something new like that, well, it's anticipated, you never know exactly what's going to happen. So, no, I think it sounds like a good proposal, and hopefully there's a little health food in that camp store, but I'm not sure what we can do about that. Maybe somebody will ask for the right V8 juice at least. How's that?
Or chocolate almonds, maybe.
I do like chocolate almonds. Dark chocolate, of course.
Director Eccles?
Yeah, thank you. I also think this sounds like a wonderful proposal and very exciting. And I'm so excited that this is well and truly underway. So it's great. My question is, I was interested in their focus on reuse and recycle. And I was just wondering if there's been any thought to, the paper goods really jumped out at me, the plates and the paper cups and so on and so forth. And, I know that there's a number of stores now that are like, coffee shops and things that are providing incentives for using a real cup or a real plate that can be reused. And so I'm just wondering if there's anything that they're thinking about there, because, certainly this stuff is compostable, but it's better if we're not, adding to that compost or, anyway, so that's what I was just, and especially I guess if they're using, plastic forks and knives, that's not compostable these days. So, I mean, sorry, that's not that. What I meant to say is that's not even recyclable these days. It's not wanted, this extra plastic. So that was my question.
Yeah, that's a great comment. And that is typical, sometimes sold in camp stores also, is you might be able to get some camping gear. And maybe that's a question we could also have Jay speak to. And Jay, if you'd like to make any comment on selling also reusable items.
Sure. So, first we'd like to have some environmentally friendly materials that we offer with certain goods. Right now, there are no hot foods or prepared foods, so that kind of limits some of that, at least for now. We'd like to kind of look into see what might be available in the future with the health department. But this is also an RV site, primarily in the beginning. So I expect some folks to have their own physical, hard, silverware and plates. But for those who need more of the temporary use, we plan to kind of to have the compostable items available. But we will be selling also some more durable items that could be reused. In our retail stores, we used to actually sell quite a bit of camping accessories that go along with our camping rentals, and so we would always sell things that would be reused over and over again. But I'm just, I can only kind of depend on the customer to kind of do what they want, but we'll have both available.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I know it does certainly depend on what the customer wants to buy. You can only do so much, but I think having both available and then having, plates that compost easily and, I mean, they do provide forks and spoons and things that are compostable supposedly, although I think it takes decades for them to compost, but anyway, yeah, it sounds like you're at least certainly attuned to that. And I appreciate the thought that's going into this.
Thank you very much, Director Eccles. I have a couple of thoughts too. I appreciate the idea of the reused products. Maybe at some point in the future to give us an opportunity to promote the East Bay Regional Park District logo, whether it's a signature coffee cup or coffee warmer or water bottle. That would all be fun.
The LEAF rules.
The LEAF rules. And I don't know, this is in the future too. Wouldn't it be great if there was a t-shirt or a cap or something? I think that would all be fun and things that hopefully we can look to in the future. And then I have I'm very appreciative, Tiffany, of you looking at the reusable and recyclable products and compostable products. Appreciate that for this. I think it's important that we walk the walk as well as talk the talk when it comes to our stewardship principles. And I was just wondering if whether, at one point we had provided to us the waste, compost, recycling bins, the big metal bins that were engineered to be safe against critters and such. Will we be using those at the campground? And will we have, I guess my most important question I have is, will there be a compost opportunity, a compost receptacle and a place to, and a stream to take the compostable materials? Because I know we don't have that everywhere yet, but are we planning that as well? I see.
See our park supervisor, Matt McDonald, he can answer that question.
My ears perked up, Director. I knew I was on track at that point. So, Director, yes, we are actually doing 3-stream waste at the campground. We will be having 2 2-yard dumpsters, one for landfill, one for recycling, and we'll be providing 64-gallon carts for composting. Those will eventually go into 3 30-yard dumpsters, and we will be providing the garbage service within the park ourselves, and then have Republic Waste pick it up.
Oh, very good.
And we also have Bear Savers, 3-stream Bear Saver cans dotted throughout the park, at the picnic sites, near the bathrooms. There's one by the camp store. So we are moving forward with that.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Matt. That's fantastic news.
You're welcome.
That's all I have. Yes, AGM O'Connor.
Just Director Wieskamp, go ahead.
Oh, Director Wieskamp, please.
I wonder if there's going to be an opportunity, since we've got that amphitheater, to talk to Stop Waste about doing some programs out there on the whole issue and what ideas they have. Maybe there might be some new things, and it would be a way of giving them an opportunity to talk to an audience from all over. It just seems like we got the facility there, and I would think they might be interested in doing that. And they might give us some new ideas too at the campground.
Yeah, the amphitheater is going to be a great opportunity for us to do safety messages, environmental messages, all kinds of things. I used to do that as a park ranger myself. Before they did their program, we'd come in and do a little messaging to the group while we had a captive audience there.
Maybe we'll talk you into going on stage, Jim, there.
Sure. Anytime. So I just wanted to do a little follow-up to something that Jay had mentioned. This has been a challenging project on many fronts, and trying to get it open, as Director Wieskamp knows. One of the challenges we had was with the stores. We originally had a vision where we would do some prepared food on site, primarily coffee and those kinds of things. But it was really challenging with the city code compliance when it comes to food service. But our hope is that in the future, we would be able to adapt the store as we move forward, as we see the market, what the market bears, and the information we get feedback from that we might modify that and seek those permits to have, especially things like as simple as coffee. That's always a big draw for people, come out in the morning, and hopefully outside the store will be a gathering place for some of the campers to gather and talk. And so we're hoping we can do that in the future as we move forward and see what the market is here. So I just wanted to mention that is part of our thinking into the future.
Great. Good idea.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments or questions or parts of the presentation? If not, we want to send this off to the full board as quick as possible. Dr. Wieskamp, are you ready with the motion?
Oh, please, yes. I would like to make the motion that we move forward with the concession, with the granting the concession stand agreement as presented by the board to the board by staff.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Wieskamp and a second by Director Eccles. Please call the roll.
Director Eccles,
Aye.
Director Wieskamp,
Aye.
Director Corbett.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you very much. Unanimous. Off to the board.
Bring
We know how-
Teresa. Bring Teresa to visit it.
Yes. Okay. I'm sure we'll see it at the board soon. Thank you. All right. Our next item is a review of the Delta Access Agricultural Lease Amendment, the Delta Access Regional Recreation Area. AGM O'Connor.
I'm just going to pass this off to staff. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon again. And this is the RRS Farms Agricultural Lease Extension. And also with me on this item for questions, if there are any, is Naoma Laval from our planning department. So I'll be sharing my screen. There we go. All right. So this is in the Delta Access Park. And I'll be just my usual routine. I'll go through the location, a little bit of history on this lease, the public benefits of it, the fees that we're charging them, and then talk about the lease extension. This is actually all parties are wishing to do a very short-term lease extension. I think this should be fairly straightforward. So just as reference, this is where it's located, the Delta Access Regional Recreation Area in Brentwood. And then this shows an up close picture of the lease area. There's 3 different areas with some that pay $200 per acre, some that pay $100 per acre, and then some are rent-free. Basically, they're doing weed abatement, which benefits us, but there's really no benefit to the farmer. This property was purchased in partnership with the East Contra Costa County HCP, 646 acres from the Nunn family in 2015. And we entered into a lease agreement with RRS Farms for approximately 565 of those acres. The lease was amended in 2017 to slightly reduce the acreage, as I showed on the previous map, and then again was extended in 2018 to extend the term to December 2021, which is coming up. And this action, if approved, would extend it an additional 3 years. The benefits to the Park District of having this lease is that the property is utilized as agriculture. It's maintained, it keeps weeds out. And also very important is that by maintaining it in active agriculture, we maintain the water rights if it continues to be farmed. It saves the district staff time by having a tenant there. The primary crop in the since this lease has been in place has been alfalfa, although occasionally they've done some produce as well, depending on the conditions. So this is what I spoke of earlier. We're not proposing any change to the lease fees at this time. because this is a really short-term extension. And again, it will just be the 3 different rates, the highest being the highest quality land. The other area is a little bit harder to farm. And then the last area is just doing weed abatement, which benefits the park district, but no cost to the lessee. So Naoma is our liaison with the HCP and has been, the HCP is working on a future restoration project for this site. And those restoration plans are not yet finalized. So we are proposing 3 one-year extensions, and the tenant, RRS Farms, is very open to that as well. They're looking to wind down this operation, and we're very happy to work on a year-to-year basis. So that worked out great for both parties, and all the other terms and conditions would remain the same. So the recommendation is that the Board Operations Committee approve and recommend the full board the 3rd amendment to the agricultural lease agreement with RRS Farms in the Delta Access Regional Recreation Area for 3 one-year terms. And with that, I will stop the screen share, and Naoma is here if there are questions related to the future uses. I am here really just to speak of the current and short-term use of the agricultural lease.
Ellen, you're muted. But you were probably asking if there are any comments.
Did you read my lips? Any
Yeah.
questions, directors? Thank you.
No questions for me. It sounds pretty straightforward and makes a lot of sense.
I agree. It's working. Let's keep it working.
Yeah, happy to see we're maintaining the use so that we're maintaining the water rights. That's really important. Do we know?
Government doesn't always think ahead of it. In this case, we really are.
Yes, thank you for that. Really, really important, especially right now.
Yeah.
What are they growing out there, by the way?
Alfalfa, I think.
Yeah, they're primarily growing alfalfa. I talked to Mr. Nunn, I believe it's Stan Nunn. You know, there's a few in the family. And he said that occasionally they've been able to do a crop of tomatoes. I think I listed a few other things, but he said it's been a little hard to farm out there, and alfalfa has been the best thing for that location.
Yeah, a lower water use, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Well, Naoma, would you like to add anything?
I think it's pretty straightforward, and I think the additional 1 year for 3 years it will fit in well with the Conservancy's goals for the restoration planning process.
Okay, very good. And at some point that'll come back to us too, to tell us a little bit more about their plans. Yes?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. If there's no other questions, a motion's in order.
So moved.
Moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Director Eccles and second by Director Wieskamp. Please call the roll.
Director Wieskamp,
Yes.
Director Eccles,
Yes.
Director Corbett.
Aye.
So moved.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Don't
All
we
right.
wish Congress was this positive in moving forward with things? God, what a thought.
We could teach by example on a few things.
There you go. Good idea.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Nice to see you all. And Naomi, nice to see you. The next item 4, is the interpretive and recreation update of the Northwest region. I know that this will be very informative and exciting. It's an informational item. AGM O'Connor, you ready to pass it on?
I can't recall, directors, if I had the chance to introduce our newest interpretive recreation services manager, Mike Moran. As you know, Mike recently promoted from supervising naturalist, and we're really happy to have him on our leadership team. So I just wanted to say congratulations to Mike, and I'll hand it off to Mike.
Yeah, congratulations and welcome. Great to see you.
Thanks so much. Thanks very much for having me. Thank you, Chair Corbett and committee members Eccles and Wieskamp. I am Mike Moran, supervising naturals. Look at that. Interpretive Recreation Services Manager for the Northwest region. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I appreciate the opportunity to give you folks a rundown on what's been happening in the Northwest sector since Dave Zuckerman retired. Now, could you please let me know what screen you're seeing? Uh-oh.
Nothing.
Don't
Nothing.
think you're sharing yet, Mike.
None so far.
We're seeing Mike.
Oh, you're seeing Mike.
We're seeing Mike.
Get back out
Like
of
an interesting
apologize for
background, I
that.
have to say.
Okay. And
There we go.
There we go.
Yes, although you do have your little notes on the side.
all right, I'm just trying to. I'm gonna have to resume my slideshow. It's the directions they're giving me, and they're not gonna let me. Apologize.
It's okay. Mike, if you go to the top where you see the dark orange bar,
Mhm.
there is a little to the left. Move your cursor to the
Yeah.
left.
This one.
Not that one.
Ah,
To your left, you almost see like a mini like projection. So it's near the left side of the bar.
Yeah, all the way over.
there we go. All the way over. I'm sorry, Ruby. Help me out on this one.
No, it's
Little
okay.
projection screen.
Move
Yeah,
it to your,
that's right.
that's the one. There you go.
Yeah.
You sunk the
Slideshow.
battleship.
Well, let's hope I didn't sink the battleship. Let me see the slideshow. I think that's what I was going to. Huh.
That's odd.
A little screen switch. Okay. Not the thing I was looking forward to here. Okay, I'm going to get out of this.
Just stop screen sharing for a minute, go back in.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to try that. Thank you.
Mike, if this doesn't work, I can pull it up on my end. So one.
Yeah, I'm going to see if this one works. My apologies for the delay, folks.
No worries.
Screen sharing failed to start. Let's see if I can find another one. Back to that same one, it looks like. This is how's that?
Perfect.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah,
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your patience, everybody. I am Mike Moran. I mentioned I'm really looking forward to sharing all that's been going on in the Northwest region during a very exciting year. Just for a quick rundown, the North and West region includes everything pretty much to between that orange line and the bay. It includes 5 work groups: mobile education, Tilden Nature Area, Crab Cove, outdoor recreation, and Coyote Hills. And there's been an awful lot going on, so I'm not going to have on the screen, but suffice it to say that pretty much the highlights for the year has been COVID. And we've thought of COVID a lot, restrictions and limitations and such, but it has opened up a lot of opportunity as far as interpretation and recreation goes. And that's really from counterintuitively digital programming. Oh, okay, there we go. And we had an awful lot of help from Regional Parks Foundation, as we often do, in getting us up and running on that interpretive programming. Spent a lot of time with professional development, folks taking advantage of how to do a better job in this pandemic world, as well as getting prepped for what's coming up next. We reopened on April 2nd, reopened our visitor centers. That was a big highlight this year. And although a lot of our successes were really collective this year, there were a lot of site highlights too, individual sites, but digital programming was really the big key. It forced us to really stretch what we thought interpretation and recreation was going to be. So when we were able to start connecting with schools, we have 60,000 school students plus every year come to the parks. And with that suddenly shut off, that need didn't disappear, actually increased. So we really switched gears quickly to develop our virtual programming opportunities, connecting with schools through a variety of ways. Other resources that we have for teachers, not in direct programming, like things like the Kids Healthy Outdoor Challenge, we were able to adapt that into a video package with activities that teachers can actually disseminate to their students, teachers being a trusted source. Those programs and activities can go out to students. The students can bring them home to their families and caregivers. They can go out to the parks safely on their own, do those activities and connect with the parks. Very similar to that were the education bundles that we've been working on, where it's essentially a ready-made study unit. Teachers can use those on Zoom themselves. They come complete with standards, aligned activities, background information, and those will be useful during the present shutdown and limited use, but on into the future too. This is something that teachers will be able to pick and use for their own use in classes when we're not there to help them out. Public programs ranged from a live Facebook talk, presentations, live presentations, recorded presentations. We even had the fungus fair at Tilden this year.
Oh my gosh.
We had 1,400 people attend that live for the few hours at Tilden. So it really was a big success. We've been able to really reach out to folks and connect them to their parks during the pandemic. And we learned an awful lot more about social media and what a great interpretive and recreation tool could be. We used to make posts about programs and maybe some sightings in the parks, but we've really turned that into an interpretive and recreation tool to connect people through videos and activities, do-it-yourself things. So that's been it's been an eye-opening experience for us. We would not have been able to do a lot of this stuff if we didn't have a great partner, Regional Parks Foundation. They provided a lot of funding for buses and things like that that really aren't pandemic appropriate. So we shifted the funding. The Parks Foundation bought each work group a video kit, high quality camera, tripod, gimbal, studio lights, etc. And that really allowed us to put together high quality videos. And not only that, but more of them. When you have the right equipment, you could do more programming. And that's just been a real boon for us. That money also funded hundreds and hundreds of backpacks and toolkits, which are stuffed with activities for our partner groups and individuals to take out into the park themselves, learn how to do some leave no trace camping and park use, how to go fishing, orienteering and things like that. We have some other more nature-based activities, and the toolkits would go out to our partner groups as well as teachers who could then disseminate them out to their students so that when they do, in the lower right-hand picture there, say an owl pellet dissection, they could do it along with the naturalist on the screen, just as if they were doing it either in the classroom when we visited there or at one of our parks. So we have a lot to thank the Regional Parks Foundation about. Lots of training and initiatives, most of them really centered around what can we do during COVID and what can we do for our social media? Everything was really COVID safe. That was the key. But it was just hard to believe. A little over a year ago, we really didn't know what Zoom and Teams was. And so we were lucky to have the opportunity to learn not just how to use those things, but to really become a lot more accomplished in what makes a good video. How do we write a good script? It gave us time to catch up on our interpretive writing of panels and brochures, et cetera, other professional developments. We were still able to work with National Association for Interpretation to present staff as certified interpretive guides to get that professional certification, that virtually. And the All Abilities, we worked with Bay Area Outreach Program, a longstanding partner, and we really worked with them to see how do we deal with our programming and how do we offer folks of All Abilities programming during COVID and after. So this is an ongoing thing. April 2nd, that was the big day. We opened up. So Crab Cove and Coyote Hills opened up. We had indoor and outdoor programming for folks who wanted to go inside and felt safe doing so, for folks who would rather stay outside or were waiting in line. And that was really fantastic to make that personal connection with people again in the parks. We're at our orange tier right now, which is 50% capacity. We're looking forward to June 15th when we will meet the governor's end of limitations for opening up to even more programming. And we really think the Sign Shop, what we used to call a Sign Shop, Creative Design Group, for providing us with signs for crowd control and making safe distancing really easy and attractive inside. Our mobile ed group, they really took the lead in providing hybrid programming that is both in the field and virtual. And they worked very hard to maintain partnerships they built up over the years. And with a little imagination and a lot of hard work, they were able to provide in-person programming to Agents of Change, which was the only camp that was provided by the Park District in person for 10 young adults in 2020. Shine, or the Stay Healthy in Nature Everyday program, our partnership with UC San Francisco and Benioff Children's Hospital, actually grew during COVID as we did some in-person programming, but the virtual programming allowed people who were not able to get out, people in inpatient care, people under care for mental health issues, were able to join us on the virtual program. So Shine actually grew during the pandemic, and the Adventure Crew, very popular program, actually had 10 in-person meetings. So mobile education really pushed the envelope in keeping those relationships alive and kicking. They're also very, it's their job to keep the aquatic exhibits up and running. They collected the live exhibits from around the district and brought them into Crab Cove to care for there during the pandemic, and worked with our partners at MASS to completely overhaul the Crab Cove Aquarium. Outdoor recreation, much like mobile education, really keyed in on partner programs, virtual programs to keep those relationships going. It's hard to believe, but in that bottom picture, that was in 2020 when we had our youth employment workshop without social distancing, without masks. It was very successful, our third annual one. Outdoor Rec worked very closely with Public Affairs to put together Trails Challenge, which was really, really popular this year, you might imagine. And although they couldn't do in-person programming, they did an awful lot of roving where they brought their skills out to park facilities like fishing piers and bike paths and such, and did demonstrations and taught folks how different skills in that safe setting. Looking forward to in-person stuff this summer, especially Parking at Day Camp, which we'll be doing a public session in July and a session with our partners, Brothers on the Rise, also in July. Crab Cove was really active in the Judge John Sutter Regional Shoreline Dedication, providing a video, a great instructive video, introductory video, as well as a couple of panels. They really cranked up at Crab Cove, putting together 13 interpretive panels and working at about 10 more during the shutdown, the shelter in place. They were part of that aquarium upgrade. It wasn't their facility. We reopened the visitors center, and I'm really excited about Alameda Point and the Northwest Territory. Staff's been out several times to collect video and pictures to make a presentation to share the future of that property. Supervising Naturalist James Frank, you see on here in lower right, he has left the district for greener pastures, so we are going to be recruiting a new supervising naturalist soon. And speaking of new supervising naturalists at Coyote Hills, Chris Sulatz, we took him away from California Academy of Sciences, and we're very happy to have him down at Coyote Hills. He has had the great good pleasure of hiring 2 new naturalists, and we should be seeing them join us in June. So we're gonna have pretty much a brand new staff down at Coyote Hills, and they're gonna have a lot of exciting work cut out for them over at Dumbarton Quarry Campground by the Bay, providing programming in the campground and programming for campers at the park. The Ohlone Trailside program, this is a great collaboration with the local Ohlone communities in putting translations, Chochenyo language translations on our trail signs. We hope to have that, we're planning on having those in this year. It's a really nice example of working together and honoring that Chochenyo and Ohlone culture and history and presence out at Coyote Hills. Same thing for Ohlone Village programming. While we're on hiatus from live programmings there, we're coming up with different ways to really protect and respect that Ohlone Village in the best way going forward, and that's going to open up some brand new programming opportunities. At Tilden, our big news is that we opened the little farm, and boy, did every boy you want to get there. Reservations sold out as soon as they opened up. Sarah Federley, supervising naturalist there, opened up more days and more spots and increased the capacity as conditions allowed. And that has really been popular, a great success. As a result, we've kept the visitor center closed because all the activities outside. Sarah has played a big role in the Jewel Lake and Wildcat Creek dredging and restoration project. And we're looking forward to the different alternatives being presented by the consultant this fall. Got a new sheep barn And that's a great place to keep sheep safe from predators and some safe lambing. We're looking forward to a new goat barn this summer. 1/3 of the fence has been replaced, so been very busy on the little farm. And the hazardous tree program continues as well. We took down 13 hazardous trees this year, including one that did a nice number on the fence. But looking ahead is really the key. COVID safe is going to be the rule of the day. We're increasing our in-person programming. We're really excited about that. That really is the bread and butter, the gold standard of what we do. And we've really learned that with digital programming, that complements what we can do with folks in the parks to invite them in, to connect them when they can't make it at particular times. We've had folks joining us from within, without the district, throughout the state and the nation, and even internationally on our digital programming. So that is really a brand new tool for us, kind of forced upon us, but luckily so. It's a really big opportunity for us to connect to folks through interpretive and recreation services. Dunbar Quarry by the campground by the bay. It's not often during people's careers that they have an opportunity to open up a brand new facility like that. So Coyote Hills and the rest of INR are going to be involved over there. It's really exciting. We're looking forward to that. New staff showing up and our returning staff, our part-time folks, our seasonal folks, our student aides are starting to come back in. So it really is beginning, fingers crossed, to look like something like normal, or at least something post-pandemic. So we've had a big year. We're looking forward to the next one coming up. And we really thank everybody for all their support during what's been a trying yet very successful time. And does anybody have any questions? I'll stop the screen share.
Directors, any questions, comments? Thank you, Mike. Great presentation.
You're very welcome.
I can see that you've been busy, and like I like to say, a lot of these presentations, East Bay Regional Park District, including you and all of the wonderful people you work with, never missed the beat during COVID.
Thank you. Thank you.
Director Eccles?
Yeah, this wonderful presentation. So fun to see everything that's been going on and everything that is about to happen in the future as well. So very, very, very exciting. And I just wanted to congratulate you all again on your pivot to the digital education. I think it's so fabulous, and it's been so great for teachers and parents to be able to go online and just, grab these segments that can be used in curriculum. And, some of it matches what the state is requiring in terms of their curriculum. And so it's, I really hope that this can continue even when we return to, to in-person education. So, but anyway, thank you. It's really been great, really fabulous.
Thanks very much. It's great to have such a dedicated and innovative staff.
Yes. Yes. Nothing will stop you all, which I appreciate.
Director Wieskamp?
There's nothing like a challenge to bring out creativity in our employees. And I think that's what was demonstrated. Congratulations to you. It was certainly an interesting time to take charge, but everybody seems to have just looked upon it as an opportunity. And I'm very appreciative of the fact that the foundation helped you move forward and do it. Every part of the district helps the other part to get things done. So, and I agree. I'm sure that Elizabeth Teresa is a perfect example of somebody who benefited, and I suspect Elizabeth benefited too by having those programs. So well done and keep it up. Tell everybody thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll do that.
Thank you. I have a couple of comments and questions too. I, of course, absolutely agree with everything that my fellow directors said, and what a positive impact the increased video programming had. And I'm sure there's plenty of parents out there who have been teaching their students at home who were very, very happy to see the work that you did. Just think of all these people you helped out when the other classroom lesson maybe became boring or not as much fun. They could always turn to East Bay Regional Park District for something fun and new. So such a positive thing. I'm looking forward to the work that you're doing out there at Northwest Territories. As you know, even with COVID, there's still a lot of people wanting to know when we're going to open and when we're going to have an opportunity to take a peek at that place. So very much looking forward, would really love to stay in the loop on the work that you're doing there, so I can continue to share that with people who are asking questions about that beautiful park to be. So thank you for that. And then I too, so grateful for the innovation and the fact that we can look to the future to continue to use that. We know that sometimes, some of our schools are limited because of transportation costs to take advantage of some of the field trips and et cetera. So this is a great opportunity to continue to allow them to have the benefit of the great stories and teaching and teaching of stewardship that we do in the Park District, all that good work that naturalists do, and share it in their classrooms if sometimes they're not able to jump on the bus and come out to the park. So it's just really a positive thing, and so glad that the foundation was able to also supply all that equipment so that you could do what you were doing. So it's all very positive. The silver lining of COVID, if there is one, I think we found it. All right. Thank you very much. Great.
Thanks very much.
Please thank everybody too, Mike.
I will do that. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you. And congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you.
All right. So that was an informational item. And the next one is also informational. Shoreline Center update at Martin Luther King Jr. Regional Shoreline.
So just a quick introduction, Director Corbett. You might recall at the end of last year when we were developing our work plan, you had requested us to bring this item back for discussion when Sarah had given an update on the Reservoir Facilities Program. And so with that, I'll pass it off to Sarah, and we have a specific update on the Shoreline Center and some plans we have for the future. Sarah.
Excellent. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Board of Directors, AGM O'Connor. Bear with me a sec while I get this screen share going. All right, you guys see the presentation there?
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. So as AGM O'Connor mentioned, I'm Sarah Lamborn. I'm the Rental Facilities Supervisor, and I'm here today to talk about the MLK Junior Shoreline Center and the Pelican Picnic Area Improvement Projects. So today we're going to talk about some maintenance projects recently completed, some that are in progress and some that are scheduled. We'll take a look at the facility usage and potential, and we'll finish with an improvement project concept proposal. Starting with projects that have recently been completed, in yellow on the left there, we recently were able to get the roof painted at the Shoreline Center. MLK Park staff replaced some trees that were struggling in the picnic site with some more salt-friendly ash trees in that area. The parking lot was recently striped. The light bollards around the parking area have been replaced. The public restroom at the Pelican Picnic site was painted. We replaced some doors that were leaking and had some dry rot around them. We repaired that and replaced those doors at the Shoreline Center. We replaced the chairs at the Shoreline Center. In progress, we've got an area near the parking lot approach to the building where there's a dip, and so we have a work request in to get that area graded for drainage purposes. The rental facility staff is working on a living wall vertical garden, and we're also working on replacing our audio-visual equipment inside the building. And then some projects that are kind of in the pipeline, things that are needed. Siding on the facility, the siding's peeling off and falling down. We've got some dry rot behind it, so We need to get that siding replaced, the dry rot repaired, and then external paint around the whole facility. We're looking at replacing the entire wooden deck that surrounds the building. Inside, we need restroom appliance replacement. We got some plumbing issues, so just an overall update and upgrade in those restrooms. The flooring throughout the inside needs replacement, as do the blinds on the 2 walls of windows facing the water. Here's a few photos of our projects that we've completed or that are in progress. Starting with the roof paint, you can see we have a good before and after shot here of that roof. The roof was metal and it was deemed structurally sound. So we were able to put a new paint job on it that improved the seal and obviously a good visual improvement there. We were able to use an environmentally product that was pretty exciting. It's the same product they used on the Bay Bridge. So it sprays on, but it dissipates before it actually impacts the waterway to the birds or the environment there surrounding the building. So that was nice. Here we have a compilation slide showing here on the left, the existing AV system that we have. That's a projector on a cart with the wires and all the inner workings kind of visible, messy. It sits right there in the middle of the floor in the room that's got limited real estate, and it projects onto a screen on the wall. To the right of that, we have kind of our inspiration photo for a media wall. So the monitor there would replace the projector in the screen, and it would give us an opportunity to enhance the interior with a unique and functional installation. So just below that, we've got kind of a concept drawing of our AV media wall. We were working with a cabinet and furniture designer to come up with something that honors the MLK Regional Park in the San Leandro Bay. So it's a wood and glass representation kind of the San Leandro Bay, and it would have Arrowhead Marsh in there. And so that art installation houses the monitor, so it's not visible when it's not in use, and as a safety precaution, since there's 2 walls of windows there. And then when you want to use it, the doors pop open, the monitor is back there. There's shelving for any equipment you might want to attach for any kind of presentation you might want to do. So we're currently getting bids on this project. Here we have our living walls / vertical garden project. The first photo here is our inspiration photo. So you've got this wooden wall of a succulent garden. It's got some landscape surrounding it down there and some lighting. Next to that, you've got this picture here of the MLK Park staff helping us out, getting that area. So this is basically as you approach the building from the parking lot, that's the wall of the facility that you see. That's the window there that leads into the kitchen. So this area right in front of that wall is where we propose to put our living wall garden. And so the park staff came out and cleared that area, got rid of that mound and the landscape that was at the end of its usable life. And then our Parkcraft specialists developed this little miniature model of our proposed vertical garden. So as you can see in this center shot right here, that gray wall with the window in it, that represents the wall of the building where that garden's going to go. And then the 2 flanking shots there, the one on the left shows kind of the long shot of what that will look like, and the right-hand side shows it, partially planted, and then it's got the steel inside where the plants will insert and can be serviced from behind. That leads me to facility use and potential. So the Shoreline Center has an average of about 145 reservations annually. The primary usership is Park District internal use, and secondary use is usually some kind of business meeting or training from outside businesses. Our annual revenue averages around $33,000, and this is one of our underutilized facilities. For comparison, the Brazilian Room has about 350 reservations annually and brings a revenue of about $600,000 annually. The Pelican picnic site adjacent to the facility that has pretty good usage. It's predominantly weekend usage, but they do see a lot of reservations, and it's also available to rent in conjunction with the facility for a reduced picnic site fee. However, we don't see a lot of that joint use happening. And then, of course, the parking lot and the restrooms see some usage that is part of why we'd like to present a project to maybe turn that around. There's some unsavory use that happens there, and we'd like to kind of see an improvement and increase in usership in this area. So The vision for our improvement project was to focus on not just improve and increase usership, but kind of focus on, you know, what is this facility superpower? And for us, we think it's obviously that beautiful mid-century modern architecture. It's right there on the water. It's got all this great outdoor space, recreation opportunity. And so we want to work to show off those superpowers and then think about the comparables in the community. Who makes up the community that we serve there? Not just the residents, but it's largely local corporations and healthcare corporations and nonprofits and kids groups. And so what does this community have and what do they need? And nearby, only really the hotels are getting this facility business. There's no dynamic indoor-outdoor recreation space or business center there. And so for our vision, what do we want to see change or improve here is the usership, and how do we build on the existing business usage for, say, corporate team building packages, maybe partner with the recreation department for some programs, and how to create a draw for increased social and recreational usage, which, as you see in the pie chart there, is only around 19% of our overall usage. So here's an image of the property from the south end of the Pelican picnic area facing northwest to the Shoreline Center, and that's as it looks today. And then here's that same angle with our proposed concept for improvement. So from a bird's eye view, starting from the far right with the existing Shoreline Center, you can see the siding and the paint have been redone. The wood deck has been rebuilt in a concrete wraparound with built-in and tiered planter boxes that contain native landscape and hardscape. There's a boardwalk down the eastern water's edge leading down to a concrete patio with that dramatic mid-century shade structure that mimics the shape of the Shoreline Center roof and creates this increased year-round usable space. There are trees and planters and some decorative screens surrounding the entire picnic area, creating this cohesive space and mirroring the flow of the boardwalk on the east perimeter. And it separates the public restroom from the active picnic and events use space. Here we zoom in on this cross section, showcasing this ADA accessible ramp, some tiered planters, which delineate the Shoreline Center and the picnic area, kind of with this seamless flow. You've got stained concrete decking that kind of looks like that dark area looks like wood. That's actually just stained and stamped concrete. And it's got the built-in seating built into those planters and the boardwalk with the railings and seating and a wide pathway for ADA compliance. Here's a zoom in on the decking, which demonstrates that same wraparound feature as the existing deck with the upgrade of ADA access at both entry points and that nice flow into the interior. This view is a clip of the boardwalk gradually sloping to the shade structure and the patio there. And here we see those decorative panels and the planters and the trees that create that perimeter, recognizing that these are all suggestions in this concept drawing. So one, some, or a combination of all of these elements could be used to designate the space while keeping that open feeling and the view of the water. This angle shows scale on the planter boxes as you see this silhouette of a person approaching the path between the picnic site and the public restroom. And that further demonstrates that all-inclusive feeling of the reimagined space and then that easy public access to the restrooms for park users who might be somewhere else on the lawn or at a different picnic area. Excuse me. And this final view, it brings us back to that northwest facing perspective. And I love the suggestion of the person walking into this space with those tall grasses in the planter, and then the grand scale and the unique architecture of the shade structure and the view of the boardwalk along the water. And you can see those light posts with those globe lampshades that offer a nod back to the original build and a flow into the similarly shaped light fixtures that hang inside. So to me, it just feels like you're walking into a special and thoughtful space with so much potential, and I just think it looks really fun. And that brings us to the question that I'm sure is on everyone's mind, which is how much does all this cost and who's paying for that? Starting with the Living Wall project, the estimated cost on that project is around $8,000, and the facilities department has a caterers maintenance fund for building improvements, which we'll be using to fund that project. The audiovisual update and media wall, Quotes are coming in around $20,000 for that project, and we do actually have a specific project fund for AV improvement, so that project's funded. Siding and external paint quotes coming in around $70,000. We don't currently have funding for that project. We're hoping to put that in for a mid-year budget request in 2021. And then the larger decking and improvement project, the architectural drawings are in process now, and they're anticipated to come in the next couple of weeks. Topographical mapping and survey is complete. So once we get those buildable drawings, then we can procure quotes. We're cost estimating around $500,000 to $750,000, and planning or hoping to put that in for a 2022 budget request. And that is the end of my presentation. So thank you for your time. And if anybody has any questions, I'm ready for those.
Thank you, Sarah. It's looking good. Any
Thank you.
comments or questions?
I think you ought to be very pleased, right?
Oh, me? Yes, I'm very excited.
I mean, it's looking like it's going to be a real asset that always had the potential for. So well worth investing in.
Yeah, it looks very nice, and I appreciate the support of other board members voting for it on our list of priorities too, to work towards this. So it's all good, and I think it's a real great benefit to the East Oakland community as well. So thank you. It looks really nice. I love the shade structure echoing the look of the architecture of the Shoreline Center, and it really is a beautiful little building. I was wondering, Sarah, is there still, if we had uses that might want to bring in a caterer like we do at other places, other facilities, does it still have a kitchen or kitchen stuff?
It does. It actually has a full commercial kitchen still. The same kitchen
Good.
build that was original to the cafe that was there. So yeah, we have a list of caterers for all the indoor facilities, and they work at the Shoreline Center as well. So full opportunity there.
Oh, great. Yes. I miss the cafe. That was a great place. Too bad it's not there anymore. Maybe someday again, maybe it'll come back.
Never know.
Renaissance.
Yeah. Thank you. It looks really wonderful. Director Eccles.
Yeah, I just want to share my enthusiasm for the project. It looks absolutely beautiful. And Sarah, I love your description about, the flows and the future, and also what is the superpower, the facility's superpower, and who does it serve, and how to increase the social uses. I mean, it's just the whole vision for it, and then the actual design that you've shown us is just really, really fantastic. So I'm super excited about it. The one thing that I noticed, and I'll defer to you all on the specifics, but I sure wouldn't want any of those those walls to block out any of the view. I love the planter boxes are good. I think it's good to sort of segment out the space, but I think people are going to want to see the the view of the shoreline too. So just my 2 cents.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that. And yeah, definitely taking that into consideration as we think about, kind of making it have this in kind of exclusive feel in there, but not impacting that wonderful view of the waterway, and just keeping it kind of open and broad is part of the design. It's what we're taking into consideration. So yeah, thanks. I'm glad that you mentioned that, and keep that in mind going forward.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that too. I wonder, since that is a spot along the bay, whether there can be any thought on if there's going to be any uses that might tend to be on the late afternoon or evening uses, whether there's an opportunity. I don't know if we do this at any other facilities for warmers or some sort, those various different, I don't know what you call them, but you know what I mean? The little warming units, the little heaters with the, that might be something to look forward to if we're going to have evening use, because that would be a great spot for events like at sunset and those sorts of things, especially right there along the water. So maybe that's another thing we can look towards too. Figuring out, it might be more popular if people know that they can have heaters.
Yeah, I think there, we've gone through several iterations of this design concept, and there was one that where we had maybe considered putting in some, fire pits. We have
Nice.
the gas line running to it, although, anymore these days with California wildfires, we really had to kind of
Yeah.
think about not just that aspect, but also, long-term maintenance on something like that. So it's definitely on our radar to think about that, because I agree that it's a really fun thought to think, like, in my head, I picture these like corporate team building packages where they come in and they have their presentation and whatever they're doing. Maybe they break out space to that shade structure and they do some stuff in the building all together or whatever on the deck. And then they go out and they take a kayak around the bay or do some kind of team building exercise, cycling around the bay or something. And then they come back for, like a mixer, and they're all outside and they're barbecuing, and it's like a happy hour mixer, and, it's warm, but you're still on the coast. So it's got that cool coastal feel along that bay. So I picture that kind of evening special moment with that sunset over the San Leandro Bay. So yeah, a way to stay warm is a thought.
And I think that's an awesome way to promote it, with the possibility of having recreation tagged on to whatever the team building or conference that they're having with the kayaking, bike riding, or whatever, that outdoor team participation component. I think that would just really take off, honestly. So thank you.
Especially now that they're, we're building that connecting, the two sides of that park with that. I can't remember the name of that project, but
The Doolittle Drive
yes.
expansion, extension, safety feature, more bike riding, etc.
Right. So good connection there too to the rest of the park. I think.
Yeah. Yes, I see him. AGM O'Connor.
Yeah, I was going to mention that caterers often will bring those in as part of a rental. Also, they can always bring those in as part of the service they provide.
Good to know. Tiffany, hand up too.
I just wanted to compliment Sarah on how she's really looked at this project in phases and figured out what she can do with the park craft specialist and her crew. It's been a great team building project for her own staff during COVID to work on like the living wall and some of those things while the facilities have been closed. And then also Sarah's really looping in the park supervisor, Lisa Brotman, who's here, Mast, Robert Kennedy, and Nate Luna, Richard Guest. So it's really a great team project, and looking at what we can do now, and then, what we can do with the means we have, and then how to roll it out in the future. So I just want to give a shout out to Sarah for that.
Yeah, very creative all around. And the one last thing I would add is it's just so nice to see we have such a variety of parks and serving so many various different communities. And it's so nice. And sometimes we have brand new parks that we're opening, and then we have parks that have been around a little while. And it's so nice to look at the parks that have been there for a little while and zhuzh them up a little bit, maintain them and make them look really great, and not forget to do that too. So as a balance to how we, serve our entire vast many acres and many, many communities. So it's really great to see that investment in the East Oakland area. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Awesome, Sarah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Any other comments, questions?
I'm going to say that Martin Luther King is one park in the summer. I live in Livermore. I say, you want to cool down, see nice birds, and now they'll have new things to see. They'll have more to tell them about. So expect some people from the valley on very hot days.
Yeah, it's a very pretty place. That's where I am right now, see?
Aha. Well, don't drift away.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. All right. So those are all of the items for today. And our next item is public comments. Did we have any public comments join us in the meantime? I know you said that we didn't have any in advance.
That is correct, Chair Corbett. We've received no public comments at this time.
Okay, well then we'll open public comments and close public comments and move on to board comments. Any comments, board members?
Positive meeting.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff.
Good stuff.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Very good. Thank you, Jim. Great meeting. All right. Speaking of Jim, do you have some remarks?
Just the only thing I would say is that I'm very proud of staff. What a difference a year makes. Last year we had all kinds of plans to reopen swimming. Then we had our summer spike of COVID, and everything got shut down again. And I've already shared with all of you, I believe, the Orange Tier reopening plan, which included reoperating our group picnic sites and group campsites. And all of that is in process. It's all moving forward. We've started the reservations for group sites. We are on the verge of opening this weekend for swimming. And it's been a lot of work on the part of staff, especially the field staff. And really proud of all of them. And I'm really excited for us to get back to some semblance of normal. We still don't know what the guidelines are going to look like after June 15th, but we'll respond to those in terms of our capacities and reopening additional facilities as we move forward. But everything that we talked about in Orange Tier reopening is happening, and I'm very excited about that. And I'm really glad that we can get back to near normal operations. That's it for me.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, I know I can speak for all the board members when I say we so appreciate how people continue to work through all the challenges and all the additional challenges people had to deal with, you know, in their own personal lives, but they kept going and kept the face of the park district out there, pivoted like we saw today to you know, digital means and et cetera, and just continued planning. And it was always difficult because it was like, I like to say it's like the hokey pokey. It's like one day it's like we could do this, next day, nope, we can't do that anymore. All of those changes you had to deal with, Jim. So we also appreciate you and your leadership over all those amazing people that you work with. And it's been a great example of what the Park District's all about, you know. So thank you for not skipping a beat.
Yeah, it was. I work with some great people, and I'm very blessed that way. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's great. Thank you. Congratulations. A quite positive meeting. Yay! Things get better and better.
Let's have more of those.
Yeah, all the time. All right. If there isn't anything else, the meeting is adjourned.
Well done.
Slightly early.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much.
It still would be nice to see you.
Director Eccles, you're going to stay on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes. Hopefully we'll be in person in a few more months.
I hope so.
We'll see.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Be well, everybody.